Maya stared at the eviction notice taped to her apartment door, her hands trembling as she read the bold red letters demanding payment within 72 hours. The single mother of two had been struggling to keep up with rent ever since losing her job at the local grocery store 3 months ago. Her savings account showed a balance of $37, barely enough to buy groceries for the week, let alone cover the $800 she owed in back rent. The hallway of the rundown apartment building smelled of cigarette smoke and stale cooking oil. Paint peeled from the walls like old skin, and the fluorescent light above flickered with an annoying buzz that had become the soundtrack to her daily stress. Maya's neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, peeked out from behind her partially opened door, offering a sympathetic look before quickly retreating back into her own world of survival. Inside her cramped two-bedroom apartment, Maya's children sat at the small kitchen table doing homework. 8-year-old Alex struggled with his math problems while 6-year-old Sophie colored quietly in her workbook. They had no idea their mother was fighting to keep a roof over their heads. Maya had become an expert at hiding her fears behind forced smiles and cheerful conversations about what they would have for dinner. The refrigerator hummed loudly, working overtime to keep cool the few items inside. A half-gallon of milk that would expire tomorrow, some leftover rice from 2 days ago, and a jar of peanut butter with about 2 servings left. Maya opened and closed the refrigerator door several times, as if hopping more food would magically appear. The empty shelves stared back at her, a constant reminder of how far she had fallen. She remembered better times when her ex-husband David was still part of their lives. Back then, money worries were about whether they could afford a family vacation, not whether they could afford to eat. David had left 18 months ago, claiming he needed to find himself, and that family life was suffocating his dreams. The child support payments had stopped coming after the first few months, despite court orders and countless phone calls to his new address across the state. Maya walked to the window and looked down at the busy street below. People hurried past with purpose, carrying briefcases and shopping bags, living lives that seemed so much more stable than her own. She watched a woman about her age stepping out of a nice car, talking animatedly on her phone while balancing a coffee cup and designer purse. Maya wondered what choices that woman had made differently, what opportunities had led to such apparent success. The phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. Maya hesitated before answering, knowing it was probably another bill collector. Sure enough, the automated voice informed her that she had missed another payment on her credit card and that her account was now seriously past due. She hung up without listening to the full message and unplugged the phone from the wall. The silence that followed felt both peaceful and terrifying. Alex looked up from his homework. "Mom, can we have pizza tonight? Tommy's mom ordered pizza for his family yesterday, and he said it was really good." Maya's heart broke a little more. Pizza was a luxury they couldn't afford, but she couldn't bear to see the disappointment in her son's eyes if she said no directly. "We'll see, honey. Finish your homework first, and then we'll figure out dinner together." Maya had become skilled at giving answers that weren't quite promises, but weren't outright rejections either. She was buying time while her mind raced through possibilities she knew didn't exist. That evening, after feeding the children the last of the rice mixed with some canned vegetables she found in the back of the pantry, Maya sat alone at the kitchen table with a notepad and calculator. She wrote down all their expenses and her meager unemployment benefits, trying to find a solution that simply wasn't there. The math was brutal and unforgiving. Even if she found a minimum wage job tomorrow, they would still be short on rent, and she would need money for childcare while she worked. Maya's sister Linda had offered to let them move in temporarily, but Linda lived in a one-bedroom apartment with her boyfriend, and the situation would be cramped and awkward for everyone. Maya's parents lived on a fixed retirement income and were barely making ends meet themselves. She had already borrowed money from them twice in the past year and couldn't bring herself to ask again. The weight of complete responsibility pressed down on her shoulders like a heavy blanket. Every decision, every consequence, every success or failure rested entirely on her. There was no partner to share the burden, no family member with extra resources, no safety net beyond her own determination and creativity. For the first time in her life, Maya truly understood what it meant to be completely self-reliant. She walked to the bathroom and looked at herself in the cracked mirror above the sink. The woman staring back at her looked tired and defeated, with dark circles under her eyes and worry lines that seemed to have appeared overnight. But behind the exhaustion, Maya saw something else, a spark of determination that hadn't been there before. This crisis was forcing her to discover strengths she never knew she possessed. Maya returned to the kitchen table and started making a different kind of list. Instead of focusing on what she didn't have, she wrote down everything she could do, every skill she possessed, every possible way to generate income. She could clean houses, babysit other people's children while watching her own, sell items online, offer tutoring services, or even start a small food business from her kitchen. The eviction notice still sat on the counter, its red letters glowing like a warning in the dim light of the overhead bulb. But for the first time since receiving it, Maya didn't feel completely powerless. She was beginning to understand that self-sufficiency wasn't just about having enough money or resources. It was about taking complete ownership of her situation and refusing to see herself as a victim of circumstances beyond her control. As she tucked her children into bed that night, Sophie asked, "Mommy, are we going to be okay?" Maya looked into her daughter's innocent eyes and realized that her answer would set the tone for everything that followed. She could choose to worry her children with adult problems, or she could show them through her actions that challenges were simply puzzles waiting to be solved. "We're going to be more than okay, sweetheart. We're going to be strong and brave and figure everything out together." As Maya said these words, she felt them becoming true. The journey toward complete self-sufficiency had begun, and there would be no turning back. The next morning, Maya woke up before dawn with a clarity she hadn't felt in months. While her children slept peacefully in the next room, she sat at her laptop, a 5-year-old machine that took forever to boot up but still worked. She had a plan forming in her mind, and for the first time in weeks, she felt energized rather than defeated. Maya began researching every possible way to make money quickly and legally. She discovered online platforms where people offered services like house cleaning, pet sitting, and errand running. She learned about food delivery apps that were always looking for drivers, though her car was old and unreliable. Most importantly, she found forums where other single mothers shared their stories of building businesses from nothing. One story particularly caught her attention. A woman named Sarah had started by making homemade meals for busy families in her neighborhood. She began with just 5 customers and gradually built a thriving meal prep business that supported her family of 4. Maya read every detail of Sarah's journey, taking notes on pricing, marketing, and customer service. By the time Alex and Sophie woke up for breakfast, Maya had already created profiles on 3 different service platforms and written her first business plan on the back of an old envelope. She made them pancakes using the last of the flour and milk, turning breakfast into a celebration rather than a reminder of their empty pantry. "We're going on an adventure today," Maya announced cheerfully. "We're going to visit some neighbors and see if they need help with anything." The children were excited by the prospect of meeting new people, unaware that their mother was essentially going door to door to drum up business. Their first stop was Mrs. Chen, an elderly woman who lived 3 doors down. Maya had noticed that Mrs. Chen struggled with heavy grocery bags and seemed to have difficulty maintaining her small garden. When Maya knocked and introduced herself, offering help with shopping and yard work, Mrs. Chen's face lit up with relief. "I've been needing someone to help me organize my closets for months," Mrs. Chen explained. "My arthritis makes it so hard to reach the high shelves, and I have boxes of things that need to be sorted through. Would you really be willing to help?" Maya spent the entire afternoon helping Mrs. Chen organize 2 closets and a storage room. The older woman insisted on paying her $50 for the work, plus providing lunch for Maya and the children. More importantly, Mrs. Chen mentioned that several of her friends in the neighborhood might need similar help. Word spread quickly through their small community. By the end of the week, Maya had cleaned 3 houses, organized 4 closets, and helped 2 families prepare for garage sales. She was earning enough money to buy groceries and make a partial payment on the rent, buying herself some time to build her client base. But Maya knew that random odd jobs wouldn't provide the long-term stability her family needed. She needed something more reliable, something she could build into a real business. That's when she decided to combine her love of cooking with her newfound entrepreneurial spirit. Maya had always been an excellent cook, learning recipes from her grandmother and experimenting with flavors since she was a teenager. Her friends used to beg her to cater their parties, and coworkers frequently requested her homemade dishes for office potlucks. She realized that her kitchen skills could become her pathway to independence. Starting with just $20 from her odd jobs, Maya bought ingredients to make a large batch of her grandmother's famous lasagna. She divided it into individual portions and went door to door in her apartment building, offering fresh, homemade meals for $5 each. Within 2 hours, she had sold every portion and had 3 orders for the following day. The demand was incredible. Working parents were thrilled to have healthy, homemade meals they could simply heat up after long days at work. Elderly residents appreciated having nutritious food delivered right to their doors. Maya discovered that she had stumbled into a genuine need in her community. She reinvested every penny back into the business, gradually expanding her menu and customer base. Maya learned to shop strategically, buying ingredients in bulk when they were on sale and planning menus around seasonal availability. She developed a system for preparing multiple meals simultaneously, maximizing her time and efficiency. The children became her eager assistants, helping with simple tasks like washing vegetables and setting up containers for delivery. Alex turned out to have a talent for math and began helping Maya calculate costs and profits. Sophie's artistic abilities came in handy when Maya needed someone to design colorful flyers to advertise their meal service. Maya's confidence grew with each successful day. She was learning that self-sufficiency wasn't just about making money. It was about developing a completely different mindset. Instead of waiting for someone else to solve her problems or rescue her from difficult situations, she was taking control and creating her own solutions. 3 weeks after receiving the eviction notice, Maya walked into the landlord's office with enough money to bring her rent current and a plan for staying caught up going forward. Mr. Peterson, the property manager, looked surprised to see her. Most tenants who fell behind simply disappeared in the middle of the night, leaving behind damaged apartments and unpaid bills. "I have to admit, I didn't expect to see you," Mr. Peterson said as Maya counted out the cash on his desk. "Most people in your situation just give up and move out." "I'm not most people," Maya replied firmly. "My children and I need a stable home, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to provide that for them." Maya's meal business continued growing through word-of-mouth recommendations. She created a simple website using a free template and started taking orders through social media. Her customer base expanded beyond her immediate neighborhood as people began recommending her services to friends and coworkers. Every evening after the children were in bed, Maya would plan menus for the following week, calculate ingredient costs, and prepare marketing materials. She was working harder than she ever had in her life, but for the first time, she felt truly in control of her destiny. Every dollar she earned came directly from her own efforts and creativity. The transformation wasn't just financial. Maya noticed changes in how she approached every aspect of life. She stopped feeling sorry for herself and started seeing challenges as opportunities to develop new skills. When her car broke down, instead of panicking about repair costs, she learned to use public transportation efficiently and arranged her meal deliveries to minimize travel time. Her relationship with her children deepened as they worked together toward common goals. Alex and Sophie learned valuable lessons about hard work, creativity, and persistence. They saw their mother transform from someone who felt defeated by circumstances to someone who actively shaped her own future. Maya also discovered the power of community support. Neighbors who started as customers became friends who offered encouragement and practical help. Mrs. Chen introduced Maya to other potential clients. The family in apartment 3B helped her create better packaging for her meals. A retired teacher in the building offered free tutoring for Alex in exchange for 2 meals per week. One evening, as Maya counted the day's earnings and planned the next week's menu, she realized that she hadn't thought about her ex-husband, David, in weeks. The woman who used to lie awake worrying about his broken promises and missing child support payments had evolved into someone who didn't need anyone else's financial contributions to create a good life for her family. The eviction notice still hung on her refrigerator, not as a source of shame, but as a reminder of how far she had come. Maya looked at it and smiled, knowing that she would never again allow herself to feel helpless in the face of financial challenges. She had discovered something more valuable than money, the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way. 6 months after starting her meal business, Maya faced her first major crisis as an entrepreneur. A competing food service had moved into the neighborhood, offering similar meals at lower prices by using cheaper ingredients and larger-scale operations. Within 2 weeks, Maya lost nearly half of her regular customers to the new competition. The old Maya might have panicked and given up, but this new version of herself approached the challenge differently. Instead of seeing the competition as a threat to her survival, she viewed it as an opportunity to innovate and improve her business model. Maya spent 3 days researching her competitor, analyzing their strengths and weaknesses, and identifying gaps in the market that she could fill. She discovered that while the competing service was cheaper, customers were already complaining about the quality and taste of the meals. The new company used processed ingredients and preservatives that gave their food a longer shelf life, but sacrificed flavor and nutritional value. Maya realized that she needed to emphasize what made her service unique: fresh ingredients, personalized attention, and the care that only came from cooking in small batches. Maya decided to completely rebrand her business. Instead of competing on price, she would compete on quality and service. She created specialty menus for customers with dietary restrictions, offering gluten-free, diabetic-friendly, and heart-healthy options that the larger company couldn't provide efficiently. She also began offering cooking classes in her apartment, teaching customers how to prepare some of her simpler recipes at home. The cooking classes were an instant hit. Maya charged $15 per person for 2-hour sessions, where she taught groups of 4 people how to make healthy, affordable meals. The classes not only generated additional income, but also strengthened her relationships with existing customers and attracted new ones who were interested in learning rather than just buying prepared food. Maya's reputation for innovation and customer service began attracting attention beyond her immediate neighborhood. A local newspaper wrote a feature story about her business, describing how a single mother had turned a personal crisis into a thriving enterprise that was bringing healthy, affordable food to working families. The article brought dozens of new customers and several catering requests for office lunches and small events. With her business growing, Maya faced new challenges that tested her commitment to self-sufficiency. She needed help with food preparation and delivery, but hiring employees would mean dealing with taxes, workers' compensation, and other regulatory requirements she didn't fully understand. Rather than hiring help she couldn't afford or understand, Maya developed a network of partnerships with other local entrepreneurs. She partnered with Janet, a stay-at-home mom who needed flexible work that she could do while watching her toddler. Instead of hiring Janet as an employee, Maya structured their relationship as a partnership where Janet handled meal prep for certain days of the week in exchange for a percentage of the profits from those meals. This arrangement allowed both women to maintain their independence while supporting each other's financial goals. Maya also developed a barter system with other small business owners in the community. She traded meals for bookkeeping services with Carlos, a freelance accountant who worked from home. She exchanged cooking lessons for web design help with Maria, a graphic designer who was building her own client base. These partnerships reduced Maya's cash expenses while building a network of mutual support among local entrepreneurs. The success brought new pressures that Maya hadn't anticipated. Customers began demanding more variety, faster delivery times, and lower prices. Some days, Maya felt pulled in so many directions that she worried about maintaining the quality that had built her reputation. She learned to say no to requests that would compromise her standards or overextend her capabilities. One particularly difficult week, Maya received a large catering order for a corporate event that would require her to prepare meals for 50 people with only 2 days' notice. The order would bring in more money than she typically made in a week, but accepting it would mean canceling regular deliveries to her loyal customers and working around the clock to meet the deadline. After careful consideration, Maya declined the catering order. She explained to the potential client that she couldn't accept work that would require her to disappoint her existing customers or compromise the quality of her food by rushing the preparation process. The client was initially frustrated, but later called back to schedule a smaller order with more advance notice, expressing respect for Maya's commitment to her standards. This decision marked a turning point in Maya's understanding of true self-sufficiency. She realized that being truly independent meant more than just making money. It meant being able to make choices based on her values rather than financial desperation. Maya no longer felt compelled to accept every opportunity or please every potential customer at the expense of her core business principles. Maya began teaching Alex and Sophie about money management and entrepreneurship through their involvement in the business. Alex learned to track expenses and calculate profit margins, while Sophie developed her creativity through designing labels and promotional materials. Both children learned the value of hard work and the satisfaction that comes from building something meaningful. The family's standard of living improved steadily, but Maya was careful not to increase their expenses too quickly. She remembered the panic of those first days after receiving the eviction notice and never wanted to feel that vulnerable again. Instead of upgrading to a more expensive apartment immediately, Maya focused on building savings and investing in business equipment that would increase her efficiency and capacity. Maya's relationship with money underwent a complete transformation. Instead of viewing money as something that came from other people through jobs or relationships, she now understood money as a reflection of the value she created for others. Every dollar she earned represented a problem she had solved for a customer, whether that was saving them time, providing them with better nutrition, or simply giving them one less thing to worry about during busy weeks. Her social relationships also evolved as Maya developed confidence in her independence. She no longer felt the need to apologize for her circumstances or make excuses for her choices. When David eventually called asking to reconcile, claiming he had realized his mistakes and wanted to be part of their lives again, Maya was able to have an honest conversation about what that would require without feeling desperate for his financial support. Maya told David that any relationship would need to be based on genuine commitment to their children rather than his convenience or her need for help. She explained that she and the children had built a good life together, and that any changes would need to genuinely improve their situation rather than simply provide him with an easy way back into their lives. David was surprised by Maya's confidence and independence, having expected to find her struggling and grateful for his return. The conversation with David helped Maya realize how completely her perspective on relationships had changed. She no longer saw other people as potential sources of security or solutions to her problems. Instead, she viewed relationships as partnerships between independent people who chose to share their lives because they genuinely enjoyed each other's company and shared compatible goals. Maya's business continued growing, but she remained committed to keeping it at a scale that she could manage personally without losing the quality and personal touch that set her apart from larger competitors. She developed waiting lists for new customers rather than expanding beyond her capacity to provide excellent service. This approach actually increased demand for her services, as customers valued the exclusivity and knew they were getting something special. By the end of her first year in business, Maya had built more than just a successful enterprise. She had created a completely different life for herself and her children, one based on self-reliance, creativity, and the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever challenges arise. The woman who once felt defeated by an eviction notice had become someone who saw obstacles as opportunities and setbacks as chances to innovate. 18 months into building her business, Maya faced a test that would challenge everything she had learned about self-sufficiency. Alex developed a serious illness that required expensive medical treatments not fully covered by their basic health insurance. The medical bills began arriving faster than Maya could pay them, threatening to destroy the financial stability she had worked so hard to achieve. The old Maya might have spiraled into panic and despair, but this version of herself approached the crisis methodically. She scheduled a meeting with the hospital's financial counselor to understand all her options and negotiate payment plans that wouldn't bankrupt her family. Maya researched assistance programs and found several organizations that helped single mothers facing medical emergencies. Rather than letting the medical crisis derail her business, Maya found ways to adapt and even grow during this challenging time. She realized that many other parents in her situation needed meals delivered to the hospital during long treatment sessions. Maya created a specialized service offering healthy, comforting meals for families spending days in medical facilities. The hospital meal service opened up an entirely new market for Maya's business. She partnered with the hospital's family services department to offer meals to families of patients undergoing extended treatments. These customers were dealing with stress, irregular schedules, and the need for convenient, nutritious food during difficult times. Maya's service provided exactly what they needed while generating income during her son's treatment period. Maya also discovered that her business skills were transferable to managing medical care. She applied the same organizational system she used for meal planning to coordinate Alex's treatment schedule, insurance paperwork, and communications with multiple specialists. She negotiated payment plans with medical providers the same way she negotiated wholesale prices with food suppliers, always professional but firm about what she could realistically afford. The medical crisis taught Maya about the importance of building multiple income streams. She realized that relying entirely on one business, no matter how successful, left her vulnerable to circumstances beyond her control. Maya began developing additional services that could provide income even when she couldn't cook or deliver meals personally. She started offering online cooking classes and consultations for people who wanted to start their own meal preparation businesses. Maya created instructional videos teaching her most popular recipes and sold them through her website. She also began writing a blog about entrepreneurship and single motherhood, which attracted sponsors and advertising revenue. These additional income streams proved crucial during weeks when Alex's treatment schedule made it impossible for Maya to maintain her regular meal preparation routine. The passive income from online courses and advertising helped cover basic expenses while Maya focused on her son's health without sacrificing their financial security. Maya's approach to Alex's illness also demonstrated to her children what true strength looked like. Instead of falling apart under pressure, she showed them how to face serious challenges with determination and creativity. Alex watched his mother turn their crisis into an opportunity to help other families, learning valuable lessons about resilience and service to others. Sophie, now 7 years old, began helping with the hospital meal delivery service, creating cheerful cards and drawings to include with orders for families dealing with medical emergencies. Her artwork became a signature part of Maya's service, with customers specifically requesting Sophie's colorful encouragement notes. This involvement helped Sophie feel useful during a frightening time and taught her that even children could contribute meaningfully to solving problems. The experience also strengthened Maya's network of community support. Other parents at the hospital became customers and friends, sharing resources and encouragement during difficult treatment periods. Maya discovered that the same principles that had built her business success applied to building meaningful relationships: consistency, reliability, and genuine care for others' well-being. Dr. Martinez, Alex's primary physician, became interested in Maya's approach to managing family finances during medical crises. She asked Maya to speak at a support group for parents of children with chronic illnesses, sharing strategies for maintaining financial stability while dealing with ongoing medical expenses. These speaking engagements led to consulting opportunities with other healthcare facilities wanting to better support families facing economic challenges alongside medical ones. Maya's reputation as someone who could maintain business success while navigating personal crises attracted attention from other entrepreneurs. She began receiving requests to mentor other single mothers who wanted to start their own businesses. Maya developed a formal coaching program, offering guidance on everything from initial business planning to managing growth while dealing with family responsibilities. The mentoring work fulfilled Maya in ways that purely financial success couldn't. She discovered that helping other women develop self-sufficiency gave her a sense of purpose beyond just supporting her own family. Maya realized that her journey from near homelessness to business success wasn't just a personal achievement. It was a blueprint that other women could follow to create their own independence. One of Maya's mentoring clients, Sandra, was a divorced mother of 3 who had lost her job and was living in her car with her children. Maya worked with Sandra to develop a cleaning service business that could be started with minimal equipment and built gradually. Within 6 months, Sandra had established regular clients and moved her family into a stable apartment. Watching Sandra's transformation reminded Maya of her own journey and reinforced her understanding that self-sufficiency wasn't just about individual success. True strength came from building networks of mutual support where independent people could help each other achieve their goals without creating dependency relationships. Maya began organizing monthly meetings for women entrepreneurs in her community, creating a forum where business owners could share challenges, celebrate successes, and collaborate on solutions to common problems. These meetings evolved into a formal business association that advocated for resources and policies supporting small, women-owned businesses. Alex's health gradually improved, but the experience had permanently changed Maya's perspective on planning for the future. She realized that true security required preparing for multiple scenarios, not just assuming that current success would continue indefinitely. Maya began setting aside larger emergency funds and developing contingency plans for various potential challenges. She also gained a deeper appreciation for the non-financial aspects of self-sufficiency. The confidence and problem-solving skills Maya had developed through building her business proved just as valuable as the money she earned. Her ability to remain calm under pressure, think creatively about solutions, and maintain perspective during difficult times had become more important than any specific business skill. Maya's relationship with healthcare providers also demonstrated how self-sufficiency changed the dynamics of every interaction. Because she approached medical care as an informed consumer rather than a desperate patient, healthcare providers treated her with more respect and provided better information about treatment options and costs. Her business experience had taught her to ask detailed questions and negotiate terms, skills that proved invaluable in medical settings. The hospital meal delivery service eventually became Maya's most profitable business segment. She developed relationships with 3 major medical facilities in the region, providing meals for families dealing with various medical crises. The service grew beyond individual meal delivery to include catering for hospital staff meetings, support group gatherings, and educational events. Maya hired Janet to manage the hospital delivery service full-time, structuring their partnership so that Janet could eventually buy out that segment of the business and become an independent entrepreneur herself. This approach allowed Maya to expand her business while helping another single mother achieve financial independence. By the end of Alex's treatment period, Maya had not only maintained her business success, but had actually grown stronger through the challenge. She had developed new revenue streams, built deeper community relationships, and gained confidence in her ability to handle whatever challenges life might present. The medical crisis that could have destroyed her financial stability had instead become the foundation for even greater success and security. 3 years after receiving that first eviction notice, Maya stood in the living room of the house she had just purchased, watching Alex and Sophie explore their new bedrooms with excitement and wonder. The modest 3-bedroom home in a safe neighborhood represented more than just a change of address. It symbolized the complete transformation of their lives through the power of true self-sufficiency. The journey from near homelessness to homeownership hadn't followed any traditional path. Maya hadn't relied on climbing corporate ladders or waiting for rescue from others. Instead, she had built her success one meal, one satisfied customer, and one solved problem at a time. Every achievement had come through her own efforts, creativity, and unwavering commitment to taking control of her family's destiny. Maya's business had evolved far beyond what she had imagined during those desperate first days. Her meal preparation service now employed 4 other single mothers, each working flexible schedules that allowed them to care for their own families while building financial independence. Maya had structured these relationships as partnerships rather than traditional employment, ensuring that each woman had opportunities to develop her own entrepreneurial skills and eventually start independent businesses. The hospital meal delivery service had become a franchise model, with Maya licensing her systems and training to entrepreneurs in other cities who wanted to serve families dealing with medical crises. Each franchise operator paid Maya ongoing fees while building their own independent businesses in their local communities. This model provided Maya with steady passive income while spreading the impact of her innovation to families across the country. Maya's online cooking courses and business mentoring programs had grown into a comprehensive educational platform. She offered everything from basic cooking skills for busy parents to advanced courses on starting food service businesses. Her blog had attracted a following of thousands of single mothers and other people interested in building self-sufficient lifestyles. The advertising revenue and course sales from her online presence now generated more income than her original meal preparation business. The speaking engagements that had started with Dr. Martinez's support group had developed into a significant part of Maya's income and influence. She regularly spoke at business conferences, medical facilities, and community organizations about entrepreneurship, resilience, and building financial independence during challenging circumstances. Maya's story resonated with audiences because it demonstrated that extraordinary success could emerge from ordinary determination and creativity. Alex, now 11 years old, had fully recovered from his illness and had developed a keen interest in business and finance through his involvement in Maya's enterprises. He had started his own small business selling handmade bookmarks and greeting cards to Maya's customers, learning valuable lessons about pricing, customer service, and money management. Alex's experiences had taught him that financial security came from creating value for others rather than depending on others for support. Sophie, at 9 years old, had inherited Maya's creative spirit and had begun developing her artistic talents through classes paid for by the business success. Her drawings and designs had become an integral part of Maya's brand identity, appearing on packaging, promotional materials, and the business website. Sophie understood that her creativity had real value and had learned to see artistic expression as both personally fulfilling and economically valuable. Maya's relationship with her children had deepened through their shared journey toward independence. They had learned to work together as a team, supporting each other through challenges and celebrating successes together. Alex and Sophie had developed confidence and resilience that came from seeing their mother overcome seemingly impossible obstacles through determination and hard work. The children had also learned valuable lessons about money and success that would serve them throughout their lives. They understood that financial security required multiple income streams, careful planning, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. They had seen firsthand how creativity and persistence could overcome almost any obstacle, and they approached challenges with optimism rather than fear. Maya's social relationships had been transformed by her journey to self-sufficiency. She no longer felt the need to hide financial struggles or apologize for her circumstances. Her success had been built on genuine value creation rather than charity or dependence on others, giving her interactions with friends and neighbors an equality and confidence that hadn't existed before. When David had eventually followed through on his promises to become more involved in the children's lives, Maya was able to engage with him from a position of strength rather than desperation. Their co-parenting relationship was now based on what was truly best for Alex and Sophie rather than Maya's need for financial or emotional support. David respected Maya's independence and the stable life she had created, making their interactions much more positive and productive. Maya had also attracted the attention of Mark, a fellow entrepreneur who owned a successful landscaping business. Their relationship developed slowly and naturally, based on mutual respect and shared values rather than financial need or emotional desperation. Mark admired Maya's independence and strength, while Maya appreciated finding someone who understood the challenges and rewards of building a business from nothing. Their relationship demonstrated how self-sufficiency enhanced rather than hindered romantic connections. Because neither Maya nor Mark needed the other for financial security or emotional rescue, they could focus on genuinely enjoying each other's company and building a partnership between equals. Their relationship was a choice rather than a necessity, making it stronger and more authentic. Maya's financial independence had allowed her to be generous in ways that weren't possible during her struggling years. She regularly contributed to organizations supporting single mothers and provided scholarships for women wanting to start their own businesses. Maya understood that true prosperity included the responsibility to help others achieve their own independence rather than creating dependency relationships. The Women's Business Association Maya had started had grown into a regional organization with over 200 members. The group provided mentoring, networking, and advocacy for women entrepreneurs across different industries. Maya served as president, using her platform to promote policies and programs that supported small business development and women's economic independence. Maya's approach to wealth building remained conservative and sustainable despite her success. She continued living below her means, saving significant portions of her income, and maintaining multiple revenue streams to protect against economic downturns. Her experiences during the early crisis had taught her never to take financial stability for granted or become dependent on any single source of income. The house purchase had been carefully planned and financed through Maya's business success rather than traditional employment income. She had worked with a mortgage broker who specialized in self-employed borrowers, providing detailed documentation of her business income and growth trajectory. The mortgage payments were easily manageable within Maya's budget, leaving room for continued savings and business investment. Standing in her new home, Maya reflected on the complete transformation of her life and perspective. The woman who had once felt powerless in the face of an eviction notice had become someone who approached every challenge with confidence and creativity. Self-sufficiency had given her more than financial security. It had provided the unshakable knowledge that she could handle whatever life might bring. Maya looked at photos from their old apartment, remembering the fear and desperation of those early days. Those experiences now seemed like they had happened to a different person, someone who believed that security came from external sources rather than internal strength. The journey had been difficult, but every challenge had contributed to building the resilience and independence that now defined their lives. The eviction notice that had started Maya's transformation was framed and hanging in her new home office, not as a painful memory, but as a reminder of the power that existed within everyone to change their circumstances through determination and hard work. Maya knew that the greatest gift she could give her children was not money or comfort, but the knowledge that they possessed everything they needed to create successful, independent lives regardless of what challenges they might face. As Alex and Sophie continued exploring their new home, Maya realized that their journey toward self-sufficiency was far from over. True independence wasn't a destination, but a way of approaching life with confidence, creativity, and the unshakable belief that every challenge contained the seeds of opportunity. They had become untouchable, unbreakable, and irreplaceable through their own efforts, and that strength would serve them well in whatever adventures lay ahead.